being stopped. I can't imagine that. You know, Washington wouldn't act. The president could stop the trash right now. He won't. The reality is the Congress could act. Finally, in the 11th hour, the House began to do something. But it's not done yet, and I support doing it. But the reality is, when I came up with a strategy to create a fee on inspections, we got the Canadians' attention. They negotiated with me. Senator Levin joined me, and we have put in place an effort that will stop 20% of the residential trash next year, 40% the next year, and 100% after that. And I'm getting busy now working on the other half. On your behalf, I understand how strongly you feel. I feel the same way, and I'm very proud that I've been able to get something done.
Sheriff.
Well, thank you. Senator Stabenow has been talking trash for almost a decade. And we know in basketball, a sport that I played, when you talk trash, it's usually to distract your opponent, and in this case the voters, from the reality that we don't have any results. Her deal was with a Canadian bureaucrat in one province that 4 years from now, they'll reduce the trash flow by 30% in that one province. Doesn't say anything about anybody else or the other 70% that's on the way. If you're a drowning man and somebody turns down the faucet and you're going to drown a little slower, I don't think you'd be excited about the victory. That's where Michigan sits. Michigan House, Michigan Senate, and the governor's office signed a law saying, Congress act. The Michigan United States Representatives folks worked on it. It's passed the United States House. The only member of Congress that hasn't done her job to get it done is standing before you. When she blames Congress for not getting the work done, she is Congress. She's been there 10 years and hasn't got results on the issue. Send me there, I'll get results.
Our next question is for Senator Stabenow. Senator, in last week's gubernatorial debate, Governor Granholm said that automakers are adding production facilities in Canada because of that country's national health care system. Health care costs, of course, also blamed for part of the financial crisis at Ford and at General Motors. Polls indicate support for universal health care coverage in this country. Do you support it, yes or no? And if not, how would you shore up our healthcare system?
Thank you. Healthcare needs to be a right, not a privilege in the United States of America. Right now, the way we fund healthcare on the back of business is costing us jobs. We spend twice as much as any other country on healthcare, have 46 million people with no health insurance. There's something wrong with this picture. So I have been laser focused working with our auto industry. I'm working in a bipartisan way for health information technology that will more adequately and effectively deal with paperwork and administration. I'm working in a bipartisan basis with Trent Lott to lower the costs of prescription drugs by more generics going on the market. I'm very proud to have worked with another Republican colleague recently to finally make it clear that it's legal for you as an individual to bring back prescription drugs from Canada. And I'm working with our automakers who are asking that we pass a catastrophic tax cut to take about 25% of the costs off of their back. You know, if we could ever get the President of the United States to meet with the auto industry, that's one of the big things that they want to talk about. I sure wish if the President comes in again for my opponent, that he'll ask him to take at least 30 minutes to sit down with our number one industry.
We are out of time. And Sheriff, your response.
Thank you. Well, the meeting with the President, when in fact came in to raise money for me, did call the auto industry that day and said they're going to sit down, they're going to talk. But that's another symptom of having a United States Senator that can't get meetings, can't get legislation, can't get results. And she's been talking about these issues for a decade. She's a nice person, but if you had a salesperson that was selling a product and they've been talking about making a sale for 10 years, at some point you'd say, it's time for us to go in a different direction. All of these things haven't changed since the day she got there. Much worse, she's on the wrong side of most of those issues. We know a lot of the factors that play into health care. I do not support universal health care that the government runs. I've never seen a program go from the private sector to the public sector become more cost efficient or effective. But we can and should do many things. Tort reform is one of them. We know that she's gotten millions of dollars from lawyers that oppose tort reform, that oppose bringing down some of the costs that are systemic within our healthcare system and drive not only the insurance policies up for OBGYN, but cause defensive medicine to be practiced.
And our next question is for Sheriff Bouchard from Rachel Ruiz. Rachel?
Sheriff, the federal deficit has ballooned under a Republican president and a Republican-controlled House and Senate. How do you propose we get a handle on that spending?
Absolutely disgusting and disturbing. Look, your wallet doesn't know the difference if Republicans are wasting your money or a Democrat. It's an equal opportunity waste quite often. The senator standing next to me has been ranked the #1 spender in the United States Senate. She voted for the bridge to nowhere, not once, but twice, in Alaska. But that was a Republican amendment. So, you know, we have both people that are wasting your money. Unacceptable. If a Republican's going to waste your money, I'm going to kick it just as hard as a Democrat. If a Democrat's going to help Michigan, I'm going to work just as hard to help them. I think we need a balanced budget, we need a line item veto, we need a backbone, and we need to quit spending the future and inheritance of our kids and grandkids, because it drives up the cost to lend money to grow jobs and has a direct negative impact on the future of not only Michigan, but America. And again, back here she talks that she's against the deficit. Out there, her amendments and votes belie the fact that she's the biggest spender in the United States Senate.
Senator.
Thank you. A Republican senator from Oklahoma made that statement that Mike Bouchard is quoting. It's really quite silly. Let me just say this. It's outrageous what's happening in Washington. When I came into the Senate back in 2001, we had the largest surplus in the history of the country, left from the Clinton administration. Now we have the largest deficit in the history of the country. It's outrageous. Interest rates are going up when you may be trying to buy a home or get a college loan. And the reality is, we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in tax subsidies to oil companies who are already have the biggest profits, and yet we're paying more at the pump. Pharmaceutical companies that got the best deal in the world from the Medicare benefit rather than our seniors. Halliburton, no-bid contracts, over $100 billion in giveaways to Halliburton and other no-bid contracts. This has got to stop. You work too hard for that money, and it's outrageous the way that this has been spent.
Our next question is for Senator Stabenow from Dave Alexander. Dave.
Senator, the American opinion of Congress is even lower than that of the President. And in light of the lobbyist and page scandals that we have all been hearing about, what has to happen within the institutions to restore America's faith and confidence in Congress?
Thank you for that, Dave. There's no question about it, particularly in the last few years when we have seen what's happened with this president and the Republican Congress. I'm a co-sponsor of lobbying reform that will do a number of things, including stopping the revolving door that's occurring.